Do you find yourself always constantly chasing a goal and success as your main way, proving yourself to other people? That if you don't win something, if you're not successful, then you're worthless. And people will forget about you, and the voices in your head have been right all along. I'll tell you, I totally understand. I've been in the exact same position for years and years where I was in identity loss. I went for a particular goal, put my whole life into it, woke up one day, didn't want it anymore. And with that, left my identity, who I thought I was, who I was supposed to be, and who I thought other people wanted me to be. It was brutal. And so I understand what's going on with you to some degree. There is a fundamental issue with self-worth. And that self-worth has made it so that we fixate on outcome. And outcome is the way out of this misery. Because I'm not here to say that visions and goals are not what you're supposed to have. No, they are fundamental to your vitality and for you to have meaning and purpose in life. You need to aim at something. But it needs to be aimed from a place of light and joy and excitement, adventure, and not from a place of grudges, resentment, bitterness, hostility. When it's from those places, black magic, it will consume you, it will eat at you. And then one day, wake up and say, what am I doing all of this for? Who am I doing this for now? And that is the most important day of your life. Because it's at that moment that you realize you've been captured by a story. Stories are a mixture of thoughts and words that trail down into the unconscious mind, and they usually are wrapped around one or multiple complexes that we deal with. Complexes like inferiority complexes, mother complexes, father complexes. Everybody has something. But it's 1, 2, 3, who knows how many, have been hurt and damaged, and it has caused this imbalance internally that has now brought itself up into the conscious mind, shaping us, turning us into a bit of a performer, where we can observe ourselves somewhat as not who we are right now. What am I doing? Like, this isn't who I am. You have that small whisper in your head, but then at the same time you have the other whisper that says, but if you don't do this, people will reject you. And they won't want to be around you anymore. But the first step to that recovery and to actually now have meaningful purpose is knowing that these stories can be changed. You can adjust these stories. Now, if going beneath the unconscious is a little too intense for right now, and the way you can tell is I have a trauma mapping structure that I'm going to pass to you right now. I classify it as 3 layers of trauma. You have soft trauma, otherwise low arousal state, low fight or flight response, moderate, and extreme. So extreme obviously being heightened state of arousal, high state of fight or flight. Within, though, each category exists 3 subcategories. So the 3 subcategories, number 1 is one-off. Number 2 is occasional. And number 3 is consistent. And those are in each of the other categories. So you have soft trauma, and within soft trauma you have one-off, occasional, and consistent. Same for moderate, same for extreme. Now I want to really make this clear. This is not to say that what you're experiencing is soft, like you're weak and you can't handle it. No. It is simply just a way for us to gain a stronger and better perspective as to what's going on. Because oftentimes we downplay what we have. Perhaps we've experienced extreme trauma. And maybe we experience extreme trauma on a consistent basis. But yeah, we're downplaying it. No, it's fine, I'm fine. Pushing it away, pushing it down. We got to keep moving. And then having bad explosions in the future. But we also don't want to have something that is repairable, something that we can move forward from and inflate it and make mountains out of anthills. That's not good for you either. And so having an understanding of where you sit can give you a better sense as to the length of time this could take. Again, they're not exactly fixed, set in stone, but it just gives you a better perspective. And then once you understand the stories, once you understand where you kind of sit, you can have a better impression and better forgiveness and mercy on yourself, because it might take longer, it might be shorter. And so I always say, act on these with adventure and curiosity, with compassion and understanding with yourself, in order for you to see consistent progress, consistent growth. And so the first thing is changing the story. How do you change stories? You interrupt the pattern. You interrupt the cycle of the story. And so stories, if they comprise of images and words, one of them will pop up if you're in a particular environment that inflates and causes you to get into that fight or flight response. If rejection was a common theme in your life, let's say, that has left you scarred, and now you're in an environment where you are starting to get that sense that, I'm going to be pushed away here. I'm going to be rejected here. Maybe you're right or maybe you're wrong. Either way, it doesn't matter. Your alert's gone up. Your senses have heightened. And now the images start to play or the words start to come in. The first thing you want to do as practice is try your best to interrupt that loop. The first way you interrupt it, stop it at the first level. If it's images that come in, do not tangle with it and turn it into words and images combined, and vice versa. If it's words that come in, do not tangle them up with images. Breathe through that experience. Slow, deep inhales, slow exhales. You can even use verbal commands. You can say stop in your head, obviously. Just in the middle of a party, stop. That would look really funny. But more so internally. So you internally say stop. Let's not go there today. Another thing you do is create a distraction for yourself. Instead of fixating on it, like a deer in headlights, waiting for the crash. Derail, change, do something different. Maybe that means getting back to work on what you're working on. Maybe that means continuing having a chat with your friends. Maybe going for a walk. It could be anything. Something to change the course, change your attention. At first, it's going to be really difficult. Because that story, if it's been around in your life for a long time, it's going to have a really strong grip onto you. But then as the weeks go on and you practice the interruption, the muscle will get easier and easier. Once the muscle gets stronger and the story has less control, we can now dig down, and figure out where this is coming from. What are the complexes we are dealing with? And the idea is to shed light on them, to see them and see how they operate within you, not to criticize them, not to judge them. Because understand that within these complexes, there is good that it's brought into your life. Maybe because of an inferiority complex, that you feel like you have to always prove yourself to other people. Maybe that's made it so that you've built yourself a really strong ability to stay organized and on top of things, to make sure you're ready to present something and you have all the information set and ready. That is the good side of it. And of course, the bad side is the intense defensiveness, the fear of that rejection, and the outcome fixation that often happens, wanting things to work just so you avoid that pain. But you have to get a sense of how they operate. How do they relate to one another? Once you understand how they relate to one another, then you can begin the next stage of either letting go of stories that no longer serve you, that they're not even worth integrating. It's best just to move on from them. Number 2 is integration, incorporating it into your ego and soul. accepting it, in other words. Or number 3, you reshape the story. You reinterpret the story going forward today. And now these take time. I'm not here to tell you that this can happen in 2 months. Even with my clients, I let them know that this process of rebuilding purpose and rediscovering your identity and integrating your ego and soul, which I believe is a strong and most important foundation for your life, because it's from that place everything can start to snowball in your favor. It'll make you resilient and strong and love your life and enjoy every moment. These things don't happen overnight. And obviously, if I wanted to just say, well, this will work in 2 weeks, great, okay, yeah, but I just can't do that. I can't. It won't be quick. It takes time. I'm a firm believer in the consistency rather than intensity. You can have periods where you want to go crazy into it, put a lot of effort, great. But then understanding that coming back to a place where it's the consistent work that you do every single day that will lead you to that place that you want to be, which is the full integration of your ego and soul. Because you also want to enjoy life. And I say this because as people who want to achieve big things, we get so consumed by it and we just forget everything else in life. We forget the fun of it, the play, the laughs. Because there's going to be misery, there's going to be tragedy, there's going to be pain. And so if we want to improve and work on things, great, we have to. We need to level up our game, as the saying is. But at the same time, we have to balance everything out and play and have fun and enjoy. And believe me, I'm saying this to myself just as much as I'm saying this to you. And if this resonated, I'd love for you to join our community, something that I wish I had when I was going through my identity crisis. So if you click that link below, it'll send you over to my website. And on that page, I have my newsletter, my monthly newsletter. And by signing up to it, I'm going to send you my three-step identity rebuilding guide / toolkit as a gift for being a part of this community. And this is a deep purpose for me, a deep mission. And if this helps you even 1%, and that makes me elated, extremely happy.